I made this entire horror short film in the style of James Wan using one video agent. I trained the agent to think like James Wan once, and it made sure that every shot of the film followed his exact visual grammar, from lighting to color to sound design. So in this video, I'll take you through the exact process of how I built this, and if you stick around till the end, I'll show you the exact cost breakdown for how much I spent to make this film. Let's get started. The first step I did before generating a single frame is that I made a treatment doc for this film, just like how you would create one for any project that you work on. I gave it an entire dump of everything I knew about James Wan's filmmaking style, such as how every James Wan film moves through these 5 emotional stages, how to think of camera, lighting, sound for each of those stages, and so on. Don't worry if you don't have all of this for the film you're making. You can always get started with what you have and add more later. I also give it a bunch of things on what not to do. I'd highly recommend you include this in your doc as well, because it just makes it a lot easier for the agent to make decisions later. Now, one thing that my doc covers that I don't think is very common in treatment docs is this section on sound. There's a full audio architecture module here because half of what makes one's films land isn't the image, it's what you hear before what you actually see. This document is extremely specific about this. When silence becomes the weapon, how a jump scare is actually constructed from the ground up. Not just add creepy sound, but extremely specific rules for how the audio should behave at every stage of the film. Now, before I went ahead with the gens, I wanted to test this doc, so I uploaded it here along with this instruction. I basically asked it to check the doc for anything that could stop it from thinking like James Wan. It came back with a list of things that were missing, so I went back, reiterated on it, and uploaded the completed document. Then I tested it on something that James Wan had never made. I asked, can we do a courtroom thriller through the James Wan lens? Before building anything, it asked me 2 questions. The era, and whether the threat was the institution itself or just something else. Then it came back with this. Now that's the moment I knew the doc was solid, because the agent understood James Wan's grammar well enough to apply it to even a non-horror moment. This brings me to the actual film that I was making. It's about a girl who hears something behind a door she shouldn't open, a warm house, a cat, a toy she holds onto even as the world gets darker around her, and a face at the end of that used to be something safe but turned out to be a monster, her grandmother. No dialogue, just sound, light, and the dread of something familiar becoming monstrous. Now I logged the obvious things first, the character sheet for the girl and the environment references for the hallway, the basement door, and the staircase. The agent generated 4 options for each. I picked the best one and I locked them in. While generating the character sheet, the agent recommended switching to Recraft V4, not because it was the default, but because it just renders skin texture at the level of realism that other models just cannot do. This ensures I don't have to worry about consistency for the rest of the film. And with that, let's move on to the actual screenplay. Once the characters and the environment was locked, I sent the agent my screenplay and I asked it to break it down shot by shot. The same way I would sit with my crew before a shoot and just map out every setup. It came back with a full structured breakdown. I went through it, I cut what wasn't needed, I added things that were missing, and by the end of the process, I had this full production plan, and now we could get into generating the clips. Stick around till the end and I'll play the full film from top to bottom, and you can decide for yourself whether this method worked. Now coming to the part where most workflows just break apart, generating the clips. I'm going to show you 2 instances from this project where the agent just doesn't hold context but actually builds on top of it. The first instance is from when I was generating a shot for this first scene. Now before I'd noticed anything, the agent already flagged that the lighting was off. I loved that it sort of cross-checked against my doc that I'd uploaded earlier without me asking it to do so. It referenced the correct lighting rule for the type of scene I was setting up here, and it caught a deviation that I almost missed. Now this is the core reason why I insist you take your own sweet time while building the production doc in the beginning, because the more clarity you bring to the project, the more sharply Agent 1 will hold it for you across the project. The second instance was when I needed a reverse angle for shot number 4. The girl was at the end of the hallway, camera is now looking back down the hallway towards the other side, but I didn't know what the space would look like. So I just asked the agent, if this image is how the overall hallway and the basement door looks, then what should the opposite side of the basement door be? As you can see, the agent has come back with a thought-through construct of what the space would look like, including the specifics of how different parts of the corridor would be lit up. It held the complete spatial geography of the hallway we'd built across multiple shots before this, and it delivered a precise reverse angle without a single reference from me. That's pretty insane, right? But wait, Let me show you where it took it one step further. It added, the reverse angle becomes critical later when she walks away from being pulled into total darkness. That same hallway she walked down with warm lamps is now a no light condition. It was already thinking 3 scenes ahead like my best ADs would. And honestly, it's things like this that make working with Agent Wan so much fun. I could get into pure director mode as if I'm actually working with my crew. So this is the part where I use the agent as a maker checker for the film. After it assembled the cut, I sent the draft back to the agent and I asked what's working, what's not. The agent flagged pacing, said one shot in the middle was held too long, the dread was bleeding instead of building. It also noted the SFX during the basement door creak was too clean, said a James Wan film would have more low-end ambient texture in that moment. And it got one thing that I would have never noticed, the entity's reveal shot. The moment it first appears clearly was running at the wrong stage register. I loved how it cared about such minor nuances of the film, and I actually included that change in the final film as well. Okay, now as promised, let's look at the cost breakdown for this video. I made close to 400 video gens, about 30 image gens across 2 days, which used about 4,100 credits in total. And that comes to a grand total of $870, which is kind of insane for the film that I've made, right? I'm going to let you watch the final film in just a minute, but I'm going to highlight something that you probably already realized by now, is that if you are a serious creative and you know what you want, Agent Wan is the most intuitive workflow for you to bring your project to life. I'm dropping the entire treatment note and a link to try Agent Wan in the description below. If you found this video useful, subscribe and make sure you like this video. And if you've got a favorite director that you want us to cover, drop their name in the comments below. Now go check out the film I made. This is The Door.